Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Compassion Project. My name is Dr. Danielle Lord, and I am here on this show talking regularly, unpacking, examining, exploring the ways that trauma has become part of our lives, or institutionalized, if you will. So my goal is to help unpack what it is that surrounds us, make sense of it so that we can begin to heal ourselves through self-compassion and provide compassion for others as well, so we can begin to collectively heal from everything that's going on around us. So I am so excited today for my guest, Sharry Edwards, to be joining us. I have followed Sharry's work for quite some time. She has a fascinating background, a fascinating story, and does amazing work with frequency-based healing. So Sharry, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, I'm like on the giddy scale today of excited to have you and chat with you in person. So most folks who have listened to me for a while know that I don't like to read bios. I find it very impersonal. So I would like to hear from you and for you to share with our guests your journey into this space, because this has really been a lifelong effort and endeavor for you, as I understand it from listening to you in the past. Can you take a few minutes and share with our guests how you arrived at this place of being able to hear frequency, visualize it, and how it's become part of your life and part of your work?
I wish I could explain it in a way that people could understand it. I think people have me on their show because I'm a mutant. My ears and my voice are constructed differently, and I can hear sounds from people, and those sounds are mathematical, and they tell me what is going on with the person by their personality, by their health, whatever is happening with them. We've proven that over the years that we are really dominated and managed through math. And beyond that, I want to share that with everybody and with the audience. And that's the real reason I do it. And I'll tell you a story about the real reason. I'll try to make it quick. I have several kids, and one of my daughters, she was, I think, about 16 at the time, was swinging out a Tarzan kind of rope over a creek. And they were diving into the river, and she was overweight and she lost her grip and she fell into the water about 20 feet. And she landed on her knees. And when I got to her, her leg was hanging off to one side. And I could see all of the adipose tissue, the white bubbly stuff. And I knew my daughter was going to die unless I did something. And I'd been teaching all of this at the university for several years. And I thought, if this ever needs to work, it needs to be now, because I was doing like laying on of hands, healing, teaching, and things like that. And so we brought her to the edge of the water, and I took a T-shirt from somebody there and I wrapped it around. I didn't want her to see it, because I mean, there it was, all laying open, and her leg twisted off one side. And I started doing her sounds, the sounds that I hear when I get near people. And we were about a half hour from any kind of help, and it was before cell phones, but I sent to ask them to get an ambulance anyway. And they came, and they had to wade across this river neck high, and they put her in a stretcher and sort of floated her across this river. And they were looking at her leg, and they put a cast on it that was a kind of an air cast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really weird because there was a fly caught in that air cast, and you could see it buzzing around.
Oh.
But at the same time, it was horrible that it was funny. So they get her to the hospital, and I'm reliving this.
Mm-hmm.
It took 3 operations, 48 days in the hospital. They saved her leg. She just had an operation on it to scrape away some crud and stuff that was there. But in doing that and being able to do a sound and not have her bleed and die right in front of me, I thought we need to find some kind of device that can be used immediately on people so no parent ever has to watch their kid die. And I was afraid of what was happening. At that moment, I committed myself to bringing this to the public. And my husband agreed, and so we put everything we had into it, all of our energy and time, and we've created now something for the public so that they can take over this idea of self-help. They don't know how she didn't bleed to death, and they can't answer it. And I accept it. Just proves to me that sound really has a momentous healing inside the body if we knew how to use it properly. I was just guessing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So you, even at that time, you really didn't have an idea, but you knew it was of benefit and could be of value. But oh, wow. So I imagine that was really just the beginning of your work.
It was. I could hear the sound from her. And so that's a mutation of my ears. And then I duplicated that sound and sang it back to her. So that's a duplication of my voice. And I think the ancients knew how to do this. I think we forgot.
Yeah, or it's been lost. The teaching has been lost, or maybe even hidden from us.
I think hidden is a really good way to put it. The Templars brought some of this down through the ages of being able to heal through sound. And it's just now coming back. We've been doing this for 30, 40 years, and we know we know it's more than a formula. It's more than a frequency. It's the way the frequencies are put together that allows the body to heal itself, because our brain is our central processing unit, and it listens to sound and then sends counterbalancing sound back through all the neural network of the body. So I think that's a natural thing for us, and people are lazy, and we're just bringing it back with computers.
I love that. And I love that you're bringing it back. I have so many questions. I don't even know where to begin. The mathematical piece of it, and I am not a mathematician by any sense. And, 2 + 2 is 4. That it doesn't go much beyond that. So the idea that there's a mathematical piece to this is really fascinating to me. And it makes me think of the Fibonacci sequence to a degree. Is there any, or the 369 combination, is there anything related to that from the frequency?
Overall, but everybody is different. When we first started doing 3, 6, and 9, that was from the Bible, and we started doing formulas, and then we found other formulas that were working even better. So I think the information was hidden in the Bible for us to expand it. It's in a lot of the literatures. Think about this idea that we have a sound going on around us all the time from the movements of planets. And Pythagoras said that those planets move in circles. And now Kepler comes along and he says, no, they're elliptical. And when we begin to look at this, Kepler says, he's dead now, but this is the idea, that our galaxy, our solar system, creates a sound much under our hearing, but unless our body matches that sound, then we get disease. And he says our soul can hear these sounds, and we need to match the sounds. And so humans started matching it through music. And there's a lot of information in music theory that in what we're doing to help look at people's voices, because we look at it two ways. One about emotions, and that's in time domain, and then one is physiology. And we can, I might get in trouble for this, but we had a guy last week and he said he had Parkinson's disease, and that's what he said to us. And we always run them through a math matrix that we've been able to create. And it says this man doesn't have Parkinson's disease. He has stiff man syndrome, and that's the inability to use glycine, where Parkinson's deals with dopamine. And so this guy's been treated for 11 years unsuccessfully for Parkinson's, but he really had glycine. And so us looking at the math matrix for each person, we can tell what's really going on with them. And I think that's a giant leap in conventional medicine, because we can see a lot of what they're not able to see. You said 2 and 2 is 4. That's always true in math. But when they say you have Parkinson's, it's not always true. But the math can come along and correct the diagnosis for humans. And we've set up a computer program for them so they can go use this on their own and see what's really going on with their bodies.
Wow. Well, I know that I'm excited to try it out. I have a little thing that's going on right now, and it's like, okay, how can I heal this without going to a allopathic healthcare provider? I'm not a user of allopathic healthcare. I remember saying to my mom when I don't even think I was in high school when I told my mom, if I ever get cancer, I do not ever want chemo. I just can't imagine anything worse flowing through my body. So I was kind of, I don't know, intuited to this idea even as a child. And I remember thinking, if dis-ease occurs through nature, then there's got to be a cure in nature to combat that dis-ease, right? Be it a plant or frequency, sound, mathematical equation, whatever. But I think the very fact that we have pharmaceutical companies who take what is in nature and they synthesize it into a chemical formula and then patent it is kind of very proof of my own hypothesis that the cure exists in nature. So I'm really fascinated with this.
We try to work with your allopathic person. We try to say, okay, this is what we found. Can you check it out with your testing and look at it that way? One very good example of what's going on. In 2019, we evaluated COVID and we looked at it and we said, this is not a natural thing, because we'd been following bird flus for like 10 years and looking at all the math. It was not a natural thing. It was man-made, and you can tell it was man-made because the antidote for it would have made it worse if we'd have used the regular math. And so we began looking at it and tearing it apart, and it said, okay, this is going to cause fatigue, it's going to cause blood clotting, it's going to cause immune, it's going to cause the inability to use iron, and it's taken the conventional medicine 4 years to catch up with us. But we have created databases for all of this that people can go test themselves. And if they want to test themselves for cancer, we have several cancer databases from all the research that we've done. We have one of, if you have cancer, what we're doing to prevent cancer, to look at the nutrition of cancer, to look at the biochemistry of cancer, and the Krebs cycle is really, really important there. So we try to keep up with what is going on in the world, but we did not want to look at cancer because we knew it was a political bullet. Anybody working with cancer, they were going to come after. So we did things like gout and pain and things that we knew that conventional medicine would leave us alone. And I was a real coward about it. I did not want to go to jail. I looked at everything that we could do. And I said, we can put this in the public and this in the public and this in the public. But if we put cancer stuff in the public, and this was in the 80s, they're going to come after us. They're going to stop us. They're going to sue us. So we're just going to be really careful and just hold back and share that with people that really, really need it, and not announce to the world that what we can do. Although although we've come out a little bit more now. We just did a big project. I am so happy about this project. It's about weight management.
Oh boy, that is a huge thing right there. Everyone's pushing Ozempic right now too, which is,
yeah, there's a lot of side effects from that. But we've put together a program where people can go test why they're having a problem with fat issues. And the biggest thing we come up with, people volunteer their vocal prints to us, and then we can go through them and see what the data is. And when people say weight management, it's all over the place. It's toxicity, it's controlling temperature, it's thyroid, it's calcium, it's so many different things. And Ozempic is just one of them about the biochemistry, adiponectin. So there's 20 different things. And the number one thing, beyond any doubt, is toxicity. And when we went back to look at the toxicity, it's glyphosate.
Oh,
When your body gets a poison in there, it creates a lump of fat around it to protect you from having to get poisoned. And it lays the poison down on a muscle that has the same frequency. A lot of people with diabetes have a glob of fat underneath their upper arm, and that's the bicep muscle. I can't remember exactly what it is. Should have written it down. But that's the same frequency as adiponectin. And adiponectin is one of the things that triggers your body to use up the fat and give you energy. So we've written that article, and it's available on our site. We've written the next article about fat proteins, and now we're going to do a whole map of the body. Where do you lay down fat? What does it mean to you? What can you do about it? It is a math matrix of weight management, and we're going to have to create a whole new section about how to detox from all of this junk that we put in our bodies. So that people can do their own thing about health and quit listening to people who are saying, shoot yourself full of Ozempic, and not telling you what all of the consequences are.
Right. I want to get to another point here just very quickly. Before we move on to that, though, can you share with us your website?
Well, the one for professionals and where you can go look at this is called Bioacoustic Solutions. And it has a lot of professional articles. There's another one, Sound Health Options, and that one's for the public. And we offer free classes on both of those sites for people to learn to do this for themselves.
Thank you. We'll make sure we circle back to that again towards the end of the show. Yes, I'm very excited to use this work from both myself and in my own work. But I want to go back to the healthcare aspect of this. Because I really do believe that there is trauma that's kind of baked into healthcare for a variety of reasons, which we won't unpack today. But thinking about healthcare, I've come to the conclusion that it's either a pain ritual or a humiliation ritual, and sometimes both even. So I think this idea of healing through natural frequency and being in tune with your own body is a way that we can really bring compassion back into our whole world and not put people in these situations of pain. You know, that pain comes in the form of physical pain, right? A needle stick. I have a needle phobia like you wouldn't believe. So a needle stick has physical pain to it. There's the emotional trauma of being told that you're making it up. It's all in your head. This can't be the truth. We have all the answers. But then there's also the mental fatigue that comes with trying to navigate a system that has become so complex that nobody can navigate through it without feeling some kind of extreme frustration. So I think this idea of frequency healing is just a beautiful and fabulous way to bring some of that compassion back into natural healing. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It brings back this idea of freedom to people, and that they have a right to have whatever kind of health care they choose, they want, and no more of this COVID shots and threats and vaccines. I'll probably get in trouble for that. But we wrote a program for a little kid, and it was called Prevac because it had been damaged with a vaccine. And I thought, I'll get this to Bill Gates. And wow, was that a wrong answer?
Oh, gosh.
I wrote to them and told them what I had, and they called me all kinds of names and that I was a nutcase and don't ever get in touch with them again. And when we first started, we had a case of chlamydia pneumoniae of the heart. A local hospital had put a heart patient in a room with somebody who had an infected heart. And of course, the other guy got it. And we happened to know them, and they came to us, and yes, we helped. And then there was like other people coming down with this in the same hospital, and we had an answer. And so I went to the head of the hospital. I said, this is what you've created, and this is what we can do. He stood up, threw his pencil down, and said, so you want to teach me how to lose money for my stockholders? And I was aghast. I didn't know hospitals had stockholders. I didn't know making money was their issue. I thought helping people get well was their issue. And so that was one of the things that really scared me about healthcare. And can I tell a recent story on myself?
Yes, please do.
Okay. It was a Sunday night, and I couldn't breathe. My throat was closing off, and I was a little afraid of what was going on. I didn't know. So I went to the local emergency room, and they said, oh, you've got an allergic reaction. Here's an EpiPen. Here's some cortisol. It was actually strep throat. And they let it go, and it went to my heart and damaged the heart valve.
Wow.
Because they thought they knew better than what was really going on. When I went back to look at my vocal print, it said that it was a pathogen. And so I went to another doctor, and they're the ones that found out that it was strep throat. And testing for strep throat is really, really easy in an emergency room. So they didn't care, and they didn't follow up, nothing. Another one that just happened, I'm still in the midst of it. It happened the day after Thanksgiving. I fell off of a high step, and cracked my head. And almost immediately, the big lump on my head was as big as my hand, and it was wet and bleeding. And I said, I probably need to go to the emergency room. Although I vowed to stay away from it. And there they said, you might have a concussion. They gave me Tylenol and something to quell my stomach because it was like I had to throw up. Turns out later, when I went to my regular friend, who's also a doctor, that I had a serious concussion. And I had broke my back in 3 places.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. They totally missed. And when we showed the x-rays to a chiropractor that we wanted to help with my back pain, some back pain, he said, these x-rays can't be real. If you had broken your back in this way, you would be in dire pain, and you're not. So the x-rays can't be right. Now, that's so confusing. 2 different doctor-physician people telling you there's so many conflicting things. 3 people all conflicting on what was written. I did my vocal. I put on the sound to keep my back from hurting. And I tried to explain that to him, that I'm using sound because we know the sounds to take away pain and bone pain, especially a broken bone. And he just totally ignored me.
Wow. Yeah. Again, one more way that we have created this space of trauma through just even disbelief or ignorance, if you will. Disbelief is one thing, ignorance being I'm not even going to engage in the conversation with you, right? I think it's just awful that we can't see beyond what the physicians have been taught and kind of bought into. So, wow, so many great examples of how frequency can help us heal. Have you found benefits in emotional and mental trauma as well, Sherry, beyond the physical?
Exactly. And let's go back to COVID for this one. When we looked at what COVID was going to affect with people, it was going to affect their God gene. It's really called a VMAT gene, and it controls serotonin and dopamine. And so many people have come to us and say, after they get their shots, that they feel disconnected from each other. They feel disconnected from themselves and their joy in the world, and they don't know which direction to turn. Well, these COVID shots have a frequency in them that kills the God gene. And if you look
I have heard that.
Dean Hammer's work, he says this God gene is what connects us to each other, what gives us empathy. And that's so many people are reporting that their empathy is gone. And we've done a series about that, about all of the spike proteins and the VMAT protein and how to put that back. And that series of articles, I think there's about 5 of them, is on soundhealthoptions.com. And we've repeated it on our Sound Health research. It's on both of our sites. So they can read those articles. And if they can't get them, write to me and I'll send them to them.
Fantastic. And yeah, you do respond to emails. I really do appreciate that. So I certainly, that's how I reached out to you from, hearing and being part of your conversations for many years. So I thank you for that. Yeah, I think that so many people are struggling right now, right? And whether it's through the vaccination, through misdiagnosis, even just through the trauma of what we were told to stay home for a couple of weeks that turned into a couple of years, I think it has really impacted all of us. And I really think about the younger generation and how badly they may be impacted from this. So it's great to hear that there are options that can heal us mentally, physically, and emotionally. So that's very exciting. So one more thing, we are getting close to time. Again, I want to make sure that you get another opportunity to share ways to get in touch with you. But I want to ask another question, because I know you do work with voice a lot and you can hear the good in people or the bad in people. Maybe that's a pretty simplistic way of saying it. But I do a lot of work. All of my career and my professional business is around leadership. And I see so much trauma in organizations from people who are put into, and I'll use quotes, air quotes, into leadership positions who are very ego driven, back to that conversation you had with the head of the hospital who said, I've got stakeholders to take care of, right? So how can we use this voice frequency technology that you have to parse out folks who may be really effective, great, benevolent leaders who exhibit warmth and compassion and kindness versus those who are just truly in it for their own ego?
People really know this, they just don't trust it. So I've written a computer program. I started giving it away in the 80s, and we've given away thousands and thousands of copies of this program. It confirms what you already know. You see a lot of notice C, which is ego. You feel that we're just confirming what you know. So if anybody wants a copy of that program, it's called Nano Voice, Nano, little voice, and it'll give you a printout of what that person's intentions are. So we'll give it to anybody who wants to pull it off our site, or if they want to write to me, I'll send it to them along with an instruction manual and videos and the program. It does not run on Apple, but if you have a PC, you can run it. Or if you only have PC, you can go to our soundhealthportal.com and you can use the program there. That's where you can also get your voice analyzed and use the program about weight management. Sound Health Portal, that's our public workstation.
Sound Health Portal. Very good. That's awesome. Okay, good. I know I am very curious to check this out. So let me ask a follow-up question to that then. If I can let's see, how do I parse this? It's a little bit like lifting the veil, right? Once you see something or you know something, I can make course corrections for it. Are those things like ego or I guess maybe kind of psychopathy, are those things that we can fix once we know them, once we've been exposed to it through that work? Or is that just kind of who we are? Are those just our tiger stripes? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it can be changed if you're aware of it, and we can change it through music. We can also just change it through knowledge or seeing what's on your vocal print and adding colors like that, because the frequency is music, it's color, it's sound, it's aroma. So we can change all that. What's there is not bad totally. It's what you do about it that can make a difference. And
Very true.
We have over 500 videos on Vimeo that people can learn to do this on their own. That's my rose-colored wish for the world, that we provide all of this to the people, anybody who wants to use it, because it's important that they know the truth, who's lying to them. And we can look at it through what person would be most compatible with you to work with or to have as a partner, or what's really going on with your kids, what's going on in the world. You have a right to the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, we just making life just a little bit easier when we know who we can work with and who we can't. I run into this in organizations all the time. So I just think this would be such a valuable tool to bring into my work, especially. So lots for me to follow up with, that's for sure. One more time, Sherry, how can folks find you?
I'm just Sherry Edwards at Gmail, and I will answer. And I get hundreds of email a day, but I still try to answer because I want everybody to have this, to be exposed to it. We've created classes. People have a right to know what's going on in their world. That's how they make their decisions, based on who and what they can trust. And I just want everybody to have it.
I love that. And you're in good company. Dr. Jacqueline, our producer, and myself, we all have big, lofty, transformational wishes. So you're right aligned with us. And I think this is certainly something that everyone can benefit from. We have just a few minutes left. Sherry, is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience with today? Any final message?
Well, I think I'd like just to repeat, whatever you find in your voice, that's you. And we can help you find a way to change it if that's what you want. And if you want to stay being a bad guy, stay there. But if you want some dominion over what's happening in your life, whether or not these shots have damaged you, how you can lose weight, that workstation is there for you. And the first 2 weeks of it are absolutely free. And they will give you 2 computer programs to work with to keep forever. We want everyone involved.
I love this. A great way to take back control of your life and break free from the kind of the allopathic medicine trap that I think a lot of folks have fallen into. So, fantastic. So one last question, Sherry. Aside from all the great work that you do with your fantastic tools, how can people provide themselves with more self-compassion?
Wow. By putting themselves in the other person's shoes, but that's been said for ages, and doing that, or being around, there's a lot of narcissists going on. There's a lot of political lying going on. And to use these programs to say, okay, I understand that you're feeling not appreciated. I understand that you're feeling not useful. What can I help you do with that? Instead of bitching back at somebody, to bring it to the point of how you can help.
Wow. Yeah. You just opened up a whole new topic for a whole nother conversation, Sherry. Why are we in this space of so much narcissism that's currently going on? I wonder if it has to do with just a lot of self-preservation. but we'll have to explore that another time. Really want to thank you for being with me today. And I know you're recovering from your fall. And so thank you so much for taking the time with everything that's going on in your world. And I am eager to get started with next steps for you. Again, one more time, your email address for folks so they make sure they get it.
Just Sharry Edwards at Gmail. Sharry with an A.
SHARRYEDWARDS@gmail.com.
Yes.
Fantastic. Sharry, thank you so much for being on the show today. Like I said, very eager to get started. Thanks for our audience comments. I know who that was, and she's very interested in your work as well. So thank you, Michonne. And for everyone, thank you so much for being part of the Compassion Project, part of the USA Global TV and Radio. Please do like, follow, subscribe to the show, share with others who might be interested in this fantastic work. Thanks to our sponsors and thanks to our great producer, Dr. Jacqueline. And we'll see you next month. I have lots of exciting guests coming up in the new year. So I hope to see you then. Thanks.
5 little known secrets for dementia caregivers with Tracy Cram-Perkins.
Hi there, I am Tracy Cram-Perkins, the host of the Dementia Home Care Show here on USA Global TV and Radio. I am also the author of the book of the same name. And you'll see this QR code. This is for an extended version of the same talk. So if you want to see the full hour-long version, feel free to scan the code and go to that website. Stick with me. We'll talk about 5 little known secrets to make it a little easier to do dementia caregiving. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is a healthy aged brain, age 55 and above. The one you're seeing on the right is an Alzheimer's disease brain. It is in moderate disease. It is shrinking. It has holes in it. The memories that were in those holes no longer exist. When you're learning something, let's say in kindergarten, you learn how to tie your shoelace. Well, then by the time you're in 2nd grade, your brain remembers that information from tying the shoelace and applies it so you can learn more quickly how to tie more complex knots. So the brain is hardwired to do this for us, so it helps us learn faster so it doesn't take us long to acquire knowledge. The brain is looking for the information and they pick the closest to wherever that hole is. Let's look at some tips that we can use to help do that.
These are 5 simple tools you can use as a dementia caregiver to help your loved one. The whiteboard is a useful tool in recording the day's activities and the answers to repetitive questions. The calendar clock is a very useful tool to orient your loved one on the day, the date, and the time, and remind them of upcoming appointments. The communication cards are a great tool to bridge the gap when they can no longer tell you what's wrong. And then there's the pill minder for when your loved one is still able to take pills but needs prompting. The final tool I want to share with you is the memory book. It tells your loved one's story. It's a great tool for distraction, redirection, also as a conversation starter, and telling you where they are in their story so you know how to answer their questions.
Music is probably the most powerful tool in your toolbox after laughter. Music is a way to maintain connection. It sticks with your brain longer than any other thing, including reading. When you're having an issue with somebody, you can play their favorite music if you move them to another room, something that makes them happy, or you can start singing songs together from their childhood. These are some of my favorite books for caregivers. My show airs on the 3rd Tuesday of every month, and you can view past episodes on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
This program has been brought to you in part by Tracy Cram-Perkins. Connect with her and order her book at tracycramperkins.com. For more information about Alzheimer's disease, support resources, and how you can help, contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 or visit their website at www.alz.org. They offer 24/7 helpline support and a wealth of information to assist you and your loved ones.
We face daily cyber risks, spending over 7 hours of screen time, including 4.5 hours on mobile phones. This convenience comes with significant dangers, with cybercrime costs predicted to exceed $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2023 alone, seniors lost over $3.4 billion to cybercrime. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, senior living facilities, investment companies, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We offer real-life examples to help you recognize and prevent attacks, with sessions available both in person, in selected regions, and remotely. Schedule your training session, or to learn more, contact us today. Call us at 847-845-9360. Email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com. Protect your team and family with cybersecurityeasy.com.
Meet Lady Ella, a special ladybug who is trained by Grand Entertainment, hope and inspiration. Join our team of elevated listeners to teach children elevated listening skills. Lady Ella would like to teach you and your family how to listen at an elevated level. If you're interested in learning life lessons as well as how to communicate more effectively as a family, go to Amazon and order Lady Ella's books. They're all there just waiting for you.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, mastering professional etiquette and communication excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, elegance in eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, mastery in dining etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.